did the Wave Pictures come to be?
Well, me and Dave were playing music with another guy, QJ Noble on drums, and we were known as Blind Summits, and that was a long time ago, about 10 years ago, when we were still living in the village where we grew up. And then Hugh decided to leave because he didn't like playing the drums, so he went to Exeter University. And after that, we decided we should change the name because it wasn't really the same band, and the sound was a bit different.
Blind Summit couldn't get any gigs.
That's right. We just needed a change. We needed a new disguise so people wouldn't confuse us again. And we played with various other drummers and stuff, and eventually settled on Johnny Helm. That's the proper Wave Pictures, I guess, with Johnny Helm. 5 years ago.
So, what was the first album you ever owned and loved? Kind of.
Well, I can't remember about CDs or tapes because they were always sort of knocking around. I remember the first vinyl that I ever bought with my own money was Bo Diddley's, and it was called Bo Diddley's Greatest Sides Volume 1. And I've never had Volume 2, but Volume 1 is awesome. It's really good. That's the first one like I remember, but I probably had something much worse, like an MC Hammer cassette, that I've kind of wiped from my life story. I've kind of like cut it out of the life story, but I definitely went through an MC Hammer phase.
So you wouldn't call MC Hammer one of your greatest influences?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. But you know, when I was 8, I thought he was wicked. You know.
I think mine's not great. I think the first album I bought was Different Class, which I fucking loved, and now I'm not so hot on. But I love that album.
What was the first song you even learned to play? Do you remember?
I don't know about the very first. It was probably something like In an English Country Garden or Greensleeves, something like that, that you're learning early on when you're having guitar lessons. It would have been a song like that.
I used to have recorded lessons, and I can definitely remember playing Three Blind Mice. I was in like class 2. How old are you then? 5?
Yeah.
5 or 6. I didn't get past.
Three Blind Mice and In a Country Garden, big influences on the Wave Pictures, big early influences.
So do covers of those songs.
Yeah, they're very popular songs.
So who are you into now, and who would you call an influence?
Who we're into now is Anthony Santos. We're very into Anthony Santos, who is a great bachata star from the Dominican Republic. And we're big fans of Anthony Santos.
Yeah, very much. I also working in Ground Fest on the way over here. I bring some classic Wave Pictures tour CDs, and involves Creedence Clearwater Revival, Cosmo's Poetry. That's a great album. The cover of Heard It Through the Grapevine, the best version, 11 minutes. Pure
magic.
Yes.
And we were listening to a lot of early Herman June in the band recently. We were listening to Turn Off the Light, They Go to the Woods, Switzerland Heritage, the early albums of Herman June. I've been getting into Will Oldham for the first time. I never listened to Will Oldham. You're still not sure about him, are you, yourself?
I've listened to him for ages, but I wasn't taken first. Sure, he's not all that bad though. I don't hate him like I hate some of the people. I just never got into it. I don't hold it against him.
AC/DC we've been listening to, Power Ridge by AC/DC, Franco and the OK Jazz from the Congo, that's very good, by way of Belgium. He's great, Franco and the OK Jazz, not to be confused with the Spanish dictator Franco, whose recording career is terrible.
I think recently Dave's guitar has been influenced a lot by Nguni Lovers, who are the new African signings on a subsidiary label of Moshi Moshi.
Nguni Lovers
They are our
awesome.
favourite modern bands. Those guys are really, you should check them out on YouTube. They have a great video of them.
Nguni Lovers, they're really good. Nguni Lovers, and the Four Brothers from Zimbabwe, been enjoying them a lot as well. Loads of people. Jimmy McCracklin, that's a new one for the Wave Pictures. San Francisco blues man from the 50s. His hit is called The Walk. I would recommend that. Jimmy McCracklin, The Walk.
Big Joe Turner. I've been enjoying.
Big Joe Turner.
Big Joe Turner.
All killer, no filler with Big Joe Turner.
That's enough, isn't it?
And the Vic Chestnut album, Skitter on Takeoff, that's pretty good. We've listened to loads of things.
Very
Lots
good.
of things. But Anthony Santos,
But yeah,
top
what
tip.
was influencing us.
Oh, influencing us. Well, only Anthony Santos. I think you can really hear a strong Anthony Santos influence on
And
new
Ngooni
stuff.
Loves Nuts.
And Ngooni Loves Nuts and Vic Chestnut.
So you guys could be described as being a very prolific band. With 6 albums under a label and 5 before that
No, it's not quite that much, is it? It's 3 albums and a vinyl only, 4 albums on labels and a vinyl only, and then a couple of solo things.
Cool. So, but would you describe yourselves as prolific, or would you say that everyone else is just lazy?
I go for I think they songwriting. Yeah, I think everyone else is slow.
Well, I think sometimes other people are trying to do something different, where they're trying to make like a bigger statement, and they're actually spending a lot longer recording than we're spending, because we're much more interested in a spontaneous, lively sounding recording, and that means you're able to go quicker. Like, because the thing that we like to do is write songs, record them, move on, and keep doing stuff. So I think other bands like to spend longer working on a smaller number of songs.
I think it's very extreme. The amount of time other bands spend on songs. I think we could spend longer, and I think we would maybe even appreciate the results a little more than what we have. We're never completely satisfied. The way other bands go is, for me, way off the other end of the extreme. I think we're very
The Wave Pitchers aren't prolific if you think of, like, if you compared us to like the Beatles or the Rolling Stones or Bob Dylan, all of whom not only did more music but much better music than we make, and like bands just used to work that quickly, and it just makes sense. It just suits a band to keep doing stuff, to do an album. It suits band. The sort of industry model of doing an album every 2 years doesn't suit bands. That suits labels to market something and sell it. That suits. It's the Michael Jackson model of you take 5 years to do an album. Every song off it is a single. The B-sides are just instrumental versions of the A-side. It's an industry model. It's not like creatively. It's much more exciting to do more, because that's why you formed a band. That's what you want to do. So I don't think we're like exceptionally hard-working. Certainly, we have friends who would write a lot more songs than me. I've got friends who would write. I mean, Stanley Brinks would write 10 songs for every song I write or something.
Came out earlier in the month, just the beginning of the month, right?
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to write and put together as well?
I couldn't say exactly how long it took to write, because I didn't write it as an album. The songs that are on that album were written at different times and in different places. To record, it took 2 days, and then to mix, it took maybe another 3 days. But there's no overdubs on the album, it's just the band playing live, so to record it was very quick. And Darren Hayman, who recorded us, engineered it very well, and it was very comfortable and very quick for us to do, and we wanted to make an album like that. We'd tried to do lots of different types of recording throughout the year, but you can never exactly put like an exact figure on how long it takes to make something, because you're thinking about it all the time when you're not doing it, and you know, we go on tour and play the songs live for a while before we record them and things like that. So, but I can say the recording time was 2 days and mixing 3 days, so I can say that.
Cool. So as you said, you recorded the album in like 2 days, complete live. I guess you've probably already answered this question, but what inspired you to take that route?
We had always wanted to. We'd always felt we used to have. On some of the earlier 4-track albums, home recordings, some of those songs are just the band playing live. Since we'd started recording in studios, we tended to find both that because you're able to do overdubs, you suddenly want to, and also that because of the kind of compression that they use in studios, sometimes it was necessary to fill out the sound. Darren was keen that this album had something about it that you could describe in one sentence. So Darren was keen on that the album had some kind of thing, and Johnny Helm, the drummer, he was keen that we do an album with no overdubs, and so that was the thing. So we just decided that should be the thing, whatever it is. This Beer in the Breakers is the way pitches out with no overdubs, it's just entirely live, and that's the reason for it. It's something we'd wanted to do for a while.
So, working with Darren Hayman, he's a long-term friend of yours, right?
Yeah.
So, is it ever counterproductive to work with a friend in that capacity? Do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think again it really depends what you want. So what's important to the Wave Pictures is capturing a live performance where you can hear what Franic's playing on the bass, hear what Johnny's doing, you can hear what I'm doing, and you can like picture us in the room, so when you listen to it, it sounds like you're listening to a room and a band playing in a room. And like, if that's your goal, really it's pretty hard for recording to be counterproductive, for any recording to be counterproductive. To be honest, I don't think I've ever really done anything counterproductive. But I think for some people who want some sort of, I don't think I have. I think it's all been productive, pretty much. I think if somebody wanted like some kind of specific thing, might be difficult with a friend. It can be difficult with a stranger, like it can be difficult to say to a stranger who you don't feel comfortable with, like, no, I want this or I want that. Certainly with Darren, it was very easy. It was like really like he was on the ball, very understanding.
What we'd been through, which we hadn't been through anything bad, he just knew, I guess he's had the same experience of what the difference was between the recordings we'd done and that we wanted to do. He really made it very easy. He was very understanding.
Yeah, he got some really good equipment, like 60s compressor unit for the drums and stuff like that, and that stuff, like, it's not interesting, I guess it's not stuff people ask about in interviews, but that stuff's like important. Like Darren had good microphones and he knew what we wanted.
He all out to see the aesthetic of himself.
Yeah, basically what we wanted was engineering, we didn't want producing, and Darren like engineered us, like didn't get in the way at all. And so Beer in the Breakers really does sound more like the Wave Pictures than anything we've done before, which like it's pretty exciting, you know, for us. Yeah.
So how has the album been received generally that you're aware of?
I think it's had a bit more attention than If You Leave It Alone did, which is nice. I think it's been fairly mixed, which I suppose is probably to be expected. It seems like most of our friends have liked it, I'd say that. It seems like most people who know us personally like it a lot. But in the world at large, I think it's been mixed.
It's just had more attention, and I think it has been mixed. I think just all across the board, just having more attention has made a big difference. there'd be more people at our shows. It's like a record label may have paid someone a bit more to promote it. It's definitely made a difference. Personally, I don't think the bad reviews matter. I quite enjoy them.
Well, bad
I think
reviews
as
are
long
better
as
than
you're
no
out there, I
reviews.
think I really think it's true.
The thing that we still find funny about being in the way pitches are odd about, well, I say we, I think that you agree with me about this, is that like, there's like a lot of people still find it a bit odd what we do, and I don't really think we fully understand why they find it odd. It doesn't seem to me like it's odd, it seems to me like it's like something fairly acceptable. Some people find it very odd, I don't know why.
Look through the reviews, people just, they're confused about different things. Some people hate the guitar solos and love the songs, and some people think the songs are really bad. They're ambivalent about the guitar solos. Some people think it's all great. You know, just you get the mix of everything. So that's what I mean.
So you can never please everybody because everybody
Well,
wants
that's why I
something.
think it doesn't
No,
matter.
it seems-
because
yeah, it seems
it's
not
completely
possible.
pointless. I just think as long as you're out there.
As long as I suppose as long as you're pleasing yourself in the music, as long as someone
Yes,
else appreciates it.
exactly, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd definitely say that about Beer in the Breakers is probably like the thing that bands say about every album, but definitely I've been a lot more pleased with Beer in the Breakers than with like any of our other albums. I think Johnny would say the same thing to us. We're all a little bit more pleased with Beer in the Breakers. We weren't wholly pleased with Instant Coffee Baby or If You Leave It Alone or Sophie, which is the one before. The ones we've been most pleased with, to set the record straight, I would say, are The Airplanes at Pressure, The Hawaiian Open Mic Night, Susan Rode the Cyclone, and Beer in the Breakers. That's just to set the record straight there. We like those four. They're the top four for us. Yeah.
Do you think anyone really cares?
I don't think anyone cares. It's asking us the questions, and we might as well say.
Have you got your eye on the next album already? Have you been writing songs that you?
Yeah, we do. We've been talking about studios to record in and
Playing lots of new
working on
songs,
some
like-
new songs. Yeah.
We scrambled in the brush, held hands along the shore of night. Then we happened upon fire sticks piled up and soaked through. Someone had a temporary home here. Someone drank air in the breeze.
I think I know where you stand on this argument, but I'm going to ask anyway. So there's an argument out there that the album format is somewhat obsolete because of things like iTunes, people buy
Yeah.
one song. So what would you say to that argument? What's your defence or what's your attack?
I don't know if it's a defence or not, but albums is how I got into music, and albums are the thing that I love. I mean, I think about albums maybe even more than songs, even though an album is just a collection of songs. And I think it would be a sad thing to see the back of. I can't think of a better way to listen to music than in a sort of 40-minute chunk. You know, it seems like the perfect sort of length of time, and an album is capable of sort of taking you to different places in a way that a single isn't. There's a place for singles, and there's people, of course, that should have their favourite songs, but yeah, there's nothing like a nice album. That's my opinion. What's your opinion?
No, I agree. I said on the way over when I was listening to some classic albums, it was really great. Like I said, I've even bought too many records. Like I can't listen to them all. I really appreciate listening to the albums that I know, and I wish I knew the albums that I own better. I like just listening to music kind of casually. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's really pleasurable listening to a good album. Someone's really made something and thought about it.
Yeah.
You can
What
really,
about the order of the tracks?
yeah, and there's a good sound. Like I don't like concept albums, but if you like, you know, they put some effort into what they've recorded, or those things, it really makes a difference. I
If
really
you think
enjoy
about
it.
something like White Light, White Heat by the Velvet Underground, which is one of my very favourite albums, it really doesn't make sense as anything other than an album. Like if I was writing my favourite Velvet Underground songs, I'd maybe only take 2 off that album. It's not a greatest hits at all. It can sort of only be an album. Like, the fact that it's got Sister Ray on, and the fact that it's got these experimental things, and it all sounds the same, and it all sounds like the room it was made in. Black cover. I don't know. I like albums.
Yeah, well, we were listening to all of the Herman June albums the other day, and it was a real pleasure going through them. We were deciding how would we rate them. And I was like, we decided a way, and then it was wrong. We listened to them all in order, and they were all awesome.
That's a good
they're quite subtly different, but really, you could tell that they thought about what they were doing when they recorded each one, and it was really, that was a good drive.
Yeah.
It was a good day.
The first of a dozen rainy nights on purple velvet under soft orange lights, and in the overhead mirrors the tops of bright hats. You never cared for that, you said, but still went and bought them anyway, and walked out in 1 out of 15. You can keep all the money you owe me. You can pretend you don't know me. I like the time we had. I thought it wasn't all so bad. The thrashing windscreen wipers and the arms everywhere. A comedian's face on a tram car, one lit electric hair. You're pale, thin, lit.